Good afternoon, good evening, and good morning to those listening and watching this episode of the Talking Sports Podcast. Jeremiah, how are you doing right now, my bro?
Doing great, doing great. Good to be back on the pod with you. How are you?
I'm doing great, man. Let's get into it. The NBA Finals are set. We have the Boston Celtics versus the Dallas Mavericks,
Yes,
and this is gonna end up being a classic series. I feel like, man. These are two teams that really, well, the Boston Celtics, they've been hot all season, just the best team, and Dallas has really turned it on since the All-Star break, since trade deadline, getting those pieces. I really can't wait for this series to start.
absolutely. I think this is the matchup people wanted to see. It's the matchup that maybe some didn't want to see, but this is what we got, and I think it. This is going to be. I think this is going to be a finals that's remembered. We've seen, Jason Tatum and Jalen Brown get here before. Can they win it? We've seen Luca with getting to the Western Conference Finals. It's gonna be interesting to see, how the coaches adjust, how the players handle pick and roll. We'll get into all of it, but I'm extremely excited. I'm extremely excited.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. The Boston Celtics, they dispatched of the Indiana Pacers in a sweep in 4 games. Um, they weren't really tested all playoffs long, winning first two series in five and sweeping the Indiana Pacers after Halliburton was out game 3 and 4.
Mhm.
So they haven't had a true test. They haven't had a full squad to go against. On the flip side, Dallas, really battle tested, and they've done well with their test because a lot of people thought they would struggle with the teams that they faced. Clippers, Los Angeles, large fan base. They did have to go against them without Kawhi a little bit, so that factored into it. But the number one overall seed in the West, OKC, they dispatched of them, and then the Timberwolves, they won that series in five. So we see even in that aspect the difference between the two teams in their journey getting here. And I think that could probably play a factor into this series.
I agree. It definitely can play a factor in this series. You know, both teams I feel like have gotten the rest that they need, but it's true Dallas has been more battle tested. Um, Boston Celtics have been lucky to play teams that have limped into the playoffs and into playing the Celtics, and so some stars have gotten hurt, not playing 100% healthy, um, but they've still handled business, and so
Yeah.
not to say Boston hasn't experienced tough games or whatnot, but just not to the level of Dallas, and so with Dallas being more battle tested, more late game situations, more adjustments. I feel like they are going into the finals more equipped than the Celtics right now.
Yeah. So just a little bit before we get into the finals matchup, let's talk about the ending of the Western Conference Finals. We didn't talk about how that series really ended, but I just feel like the Timberwolves, they gave everything they had into beating the Nuggets, and being a young team, inexperienced as far as playoffs go. I just think they gave so much for that series, and they were mentally and physically tired and not being experienced, not getting to that point. They just ran into a juggernaut, and they didn't really know how to handle it. That's my take. That's my take on it.
Yeah, yeah, it was tough. Their legs started to seem like they were going a little bit. Um, they feel like they did everything they could. Um, just leading up to that fourth quarter, especially those last 2 minutes, man, whether it was a late game turnover, missed free throw, missed shot,
Yeah.
they couldn't get it done. And when you have the star power of Luca and Kyrie, who are the best closers in the NBA, it's going to be tough. You have to play perfect. And, again, we put some of that on the Timberwolves coach with, the timeout situations, uh, which I understand. But at the same time, as a whole, the Mavericks were the better team.
Yeah, yeah, they were. What do you think the Timberwolves need, moving forward? Like I said, they're a young team. They do have some veterans. Rudy Gobert has been playing a while. Cat been in the league for a while. But you have some youth. Mike Conley, he's been playing a while too. But you have some youth there as well. So is it just another year with this group? Another year under their belt, this experience and moving them forward, or do you think they need to make a move? I've seen a lot of Carl Anthony Town trade rumors. So it's a different situation. But I'm just curious your thoughts on what the Timberwolves do moving forward.
Yeah. I feel like the pieces they have are good. Um, we know you have to have a bench. You have to have at least two or three guys that are dependable, which I think they have coming off the bench. Um, you know, Conley's not getting any younger.
Yeah.
Maybe you get another guard just to kind of help out Ant. Even though Conley's still incredible floor general. But I genuinely think it's their experience. I think that the experience from this year, they got past the Nuggets, right? They got stopped by the Mavericks, but I think the experience they have from this season, building into next season, they get older, they get more mature, they get wiser, they understand what to do, what not to do. If they keep their core, draft well, try and maybe get a piece, a guard, I think they'll be in good shape. But if they don't get anybody, I don't see why you shouldn't get back to or get to the Western Conference Finals again or get to the finals.
Yeah. I it's tough because the team is quite young. Their main guys are young. But I just, Cat is just he's good. Don't get me wrong, but
Not great.
I think just explore your options. Just
Yeah.
just see just
See
see
what you
what
can
you can
get.
get
Yeah.
because the foul trouble, the you just that's maturity and like to play defense without fouling and just the way he fouled is just like you've been in the league too long to still be making those dumb fouls.
Yeah.
It's been talked about with him for a while since they've been prominent and since they've been making the playoffs and been a prominent team. But you gotta stop fouling. Like Ant said, stop fouling, bro.
Yep.
Like he like and you just need a more dependable player. And so, the too big lineup is, almost archaic at this point in the NBA. And so, you have a DPOY, Rudy Gobert, that you're probably not going to trade just because the contract is so big and you gave up so much for him. I say explore your options. If you see a good trade out there that can get you more pieces, if you're looking for draft capital, then fine. But I say see what you can get. I think a lot of people would be, willing to trade for a Cat. He's a stretch four, shoots the three ball well. But you got to get over that maturity factor with his fouls and his defensive his defensive presence. So when he's good, he's good. But sometimes you don't always get the good. That's my take.
It's true. And the thing is, like, you have to. Cat hasn't been in the situation as much as other guys, maybe. So he has year experience, yes, but being in the playoffs, being in the Western Conference Finals, being in that situation isn't enough. They didn't have enough experience going into the game. I feel like. So I'm with you. I think explore your options, see what you can get, and if nothing jumps out, try and go at it again with some more maturity, some more experience, and see what you can do.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. Minnesota is going to have an interesting offseason. We'll see what happens if Coach Nori is going to get some offers from teams. I think he's done well, just given his opportunity to coach a little bit. And I'm curious how that works as well. If Finch wasn't injured, if that makes a
Yeah.
difference. I know he was still a voice, but it just seemed like Micah was doing most of it, and we don't know what's going on behind the scenes, but that's an interesting factor as well. He could garner some interest as a coach, um, but yeah. So let's get into the series here, NBA Finals. Dallas Mavericks, and what we're gonna do here is we have 7 categories, and we're gonna just break down um, each category and who wins each category, whether it be Celtics or Mavericks, and maybe that'll determine who we think is gonna win it. Maybe not, but down in the comment section below, let us know what you think Minnesota should do this offseason with Cat. Should they trade him? Should they keep him? Let us know down in the comment section. So, Jeremiah, let's start with the top of the food chain for each team. We got the coaches, Jason Kidd for the Mavericks and Joe Mazzulla for the Celtics. Who do you think wins that battle? Who do you think is the best coach in this series?
This is a tough one because you have someone who played the game, who was a great point guard in this league, one of the best, in Jason Kidd. And I feel like what the Mavericks have been able to do is because of his experience as a player. And he was a Maverick. He's been there, knows organization, knows the team well, and he's a great young offensive mind, um, and defensively as well. On the other hand of that, you have the Celtics coach Joe Mazzulla, who obviously took over after what happened with the other
Ime.
coach, who's
Yeah.
who's also a great young mind as well.
Yeah.
Um, this is tough. I feel like you have to base this on who can adjust better. And honestly, I'll give that to Joe Mazzulla. So
Mm.
I think I'll go Mazzulla, but he doesn't have Luka and Kyrie. So just coach, based off coach, I'll go Mazzulla.
I thought you would go Jason Kidd just based on how you were starting out. I got Joe Mazzulla as well, man. I just think um, I just think his presence this season, especially, has helped the team so much. He's calm, and you know, it seems as though Boston is always prepared for what's in front of them, and he's given them a motivation this season unlike any other. I'm giving the slight advantage to Joe Mazzulla. But the point that you made about Jason Kidd, being here, being in this situation, it's almost the exact situation if we're
Yeah,
thinking about it.
it's true.
And that experience as a player could absolutely help. But I'm giving a slight advantage to Joe Mazzulla just because you can tell scheme is Boston Celtics. Players is Jason Kidd and Dallas. So scheme offensively and defensively is how Boston is so good. because they don't just rely on one player.
Yeah.
They move the ball. Their offensive and defensive scheme is coached, and you can see it play out on the court. So I'm giving it to Joe.
Yeah, I feel like it could go either way. I wouldn't be mad at anyone if they pick Kidd, they pick
Yeah.
Mazzulla. Either way, they're both excellent coaches. They're both here for a reason.
No, absolutely, absolutely. So let's move down the list here. So we have star player next. So in my opinion, I was pitting Luca against Jason Tatum in this scenario, and so I've got Luca as the better star player in this series.
Yep, I got Luca. Should have been the MVP. I
I agree.
think I've been on air saying maybe it should have gone to Ant, maybe SGA, maybe someone else, but should have been Luca. Best player in the league, has been the best player in the league probably since April, maybe February. It's Luca, without a doubt. His closing ability, his clutch gene, his man, dude's 25 years old,
Yeah.
and sometimes he moves like he's 40, but he'll shoot your eyes out like he's 19. Like,
Absolutely.
it's crazy. So I got Luca.
Yeah, you can't scheme against him. There's nothing you can really do to stop him. The only thing you can really do is just try to get the ball out of his hand, and even if you do that, he's a great passer. So, you know, he can throw lobs. He can, just no look passes. He can throw people open. Um, he put people in the right spots. He can shoot. He can score. The only thing that is lackluster in his game is free throw shooting. Um, and that you live with that. But
Probably say defense too, maybe.
yeah, defense. I mean, he's gotten a little bit better defensively,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's Luca. He's more clutch, and I think you can really trust him more to just not kill you, not kill his team,
Yeah.
And so yeah, it's Luca. So let's move on to secondary star, and this is where I was pitting Kyrie versus Jaylen Brown, and I'm interested to see what you have here because it could go either way.
So based on ability, I'm going Kyrie Irving.
Okay.
Based on these playoffs, Jaylen Brown. Jaylen Brown has sent all the teams they've played home in 4 or 5 games. Not Jason Tatum, not Derek White, not anybody, not Al Horford, not anybody else. It's been Jaylen Brown. Okay. So let's get that out of the way.
Eastern Conference MVP.
Yes.
Eastern Conference Finals MVP.
Wasn't even close. It wasn't even close. So
I thought it was a little close.
To Tatum?
Yeah.
No.
The numbers were close. I think Jaylen Brown just had moments.
Yes. Listen, the shots sent to OT, I don't think Tatum's doing that. The consistent 30, 35 games, obviously Tatum has some, but
yeah.
Brown he's gotten them here. I'm not gonna say we should put Jaylen against Luka or anything like that. I'm not going that far. But okay. I'm just saying recently Brown's been that dude. So for secondary star, recency bias, I'll go Jaylen Brown. But overall talent and just ability, I'm gonna go Kyrie because I trust Kyrie more. Kyrie hit the clutchest shot in NBA history, maybe besides Ray Allen, in the finals. So
who are you going with?
I'm going Kyrie.
Ooh, okay. I'm going Jaylen Brown. Uh, for all the reasons you said, he's in these playoffs. He's just been better than
Yeah,
Kyrie.
yeah,
Kyrie has now. Now, granted, against Minnesota, Kyrie was excellent,
absolutely.
excellent, and I feel like beginning against the Clippers, against OKC, he was kind of tempering himself. That's what it seemed like to me because I know Kyrie could do more. He was picking his spots. He's an older star in this league, so he's picking his spots. Um, he'd have moments. First half, he wouldn't do anything. Second half, he'd turn up. Against OKC, it was the other way around. First half, he would go off. Second half, he'd let Luka go. In the series against Minnesota, it was a little bit of both. Um, but Jaylen Brown has been more consistent throughout. He's been the leading force for the team, scoring wise, for the most part. Um, and I mean, let's be real. He's the highest paid player in the league. So he gotta get some respect, and he's gotta earn his money, and he's doing that right now. Um, I just I hope it doesn't fade in the finals. I don't want to see them fade like they did against the Warriors two
Yeah,
years ago. You just hate to see that after the season that they've had, but
right.
we'll get into that a little bit.
Let me ask you this question before
But
we move. Each team has a chance to take the last possession, last shot, buzzer beater. You taking Kyrie or Jalen?
Kyrie, no question about it. That's
That's what
easy.
that's what I thought you'd say.
I mean,
I like that answer. I like that.
yeah, yeah. I mean, let me be real with you, and I'm gonna just say this for the people out there watching on YouTube. Hey, shout out to y'all, by the way. We love y'all. Um, I think the Celtics are gonna win, but I'm rooting for Dallas. I'm just put that out there. Like, I think the Celtics are gonna win in seven. You got my prediction, but I'm rooting for Dallas. Like,
Yeah.
on here we're podcasters, we're analysts of the game. So I'm gonna do my due diligence and give you the stats, and give you the numbers, the breakdown of what I see when I watch games. But when I'm at home, when I'm watching the game, and I see Kyrie shake and bake and cross over and get to his left hand with the
Mhm.
jelly,
Yep.
I'm hyped. I'm hyped. But yeah, I mean, I like both of these teams. And even as a Laker fan, I like these Celtics players. I like Drew Holiday. I like Jason Tatum. Aduki. We love our Duke players around here.
Yep.
Uh, Jaylen Brown is an exciting player. Al Horford, I want to see him win a ring before he retires.
Yep.
Everything that he's played, every game that he's played in the playoffs without winning a finals game is up there with Karl Malone and John Stockton. So that's we know that's a lot of games.
Yep.
Um, Derek White, a lot of these players I just like
Yeah.
as watching basketball as a basketball fan. So,
Mhm.
but Luca is the most exciting player. Kyrie is exhilarating and so fun to watch. He's a wizard, as LeBron said on Modern the Game podcast, which was a great episode, by the way. Y'all check that out. But yeah, Kyrie taking the last shot for sure.
Yeah.
He's clutch. He's a closer, great closer, like you said. But yeah. Moving on. Let's talk about the role players in the bench because this is where I believe the series is going to be won. Um, we've got I did combine these two just because I think you separate the stars and the role players and the bench. It's pretty much the same. So with the Celtics, those main role players, you got Derek White, Drew Holiday, Kristaps, and the Al Horford, and you got the bench, Peyton Pritchard, Sam Hauser, uh,
Xavier Tillman.
Xavier Tillman. Yeah, he might see some minutes this series as well. Um, so yeah, I've got the Celtics winning this one. I just think they have well, they have more quality, but they also have more quality as well. So they have the quantity and the quality, I think, of the role players.
Yeah, this is an interesting one too, because we haven't really seen the Celtics bench or role players, if you will, have to do a lot. They've been able to just rely on their starting five for the most part, maybe six guys, and they get the job done. Which, again, shout out to them, Celtics. They've handled business, but
Yeah,
I feel like we've seen the Mavericks bench and role players do more because they've had to do more. Um,
yeah. Now
and
that is true.
yeah, right. They've had to play more. They've had to rely on them more because they've been in more um, situations where they needed to play more games, give Luca a minute, give Kyrie a minute, whatever the case may be. So, looking at the Mavs bench, you got uh, Derek Lively, you got Dante Exum, Josh Green, Powell, and Maxi Kleber. I think number one, the Mavs are good. They're deeper. I think they have more than just two guys they can bring and give you good minutes. They can probably give you about four guys. They can give you solid minutes, good 15, 20-minute runs, just to give, PJ Washington a few minutes, Derrick Jones Jr., they might split a little bit. So I say Mavericks have the better bench and role players, um, because we've seen them perform when they've had to.
Yeah, I just think the when you think about well, I mean, I'll give you bench. I think they might have a better bench, but role players, that's everybody outside of the two main stars, and so I'm giving that to the Celtics. I, you're not gonna rotate like, for instance, when you're not gonna have a lot of moments where Jalen Brown and Tatum are out at the same time.
Right.
You're not gonna have moments where Derek White and Drew Holiday are out at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's going to be important because Jaden Hardy may not perform well in this series just
Yeah.
because he's gonna have a good defensive player on him regardless. Like Peyton Pritchard might be on him. He's a pretty solid defender. Derek White, like so it's just the construction of the team as far as how deep it is from top to bottom.
Yeah.
The roster is orchestrated better for the Celtics, in my opinion, to where some of those bench players are going to get canceled out, and it's really just going to be relying on how much Luka and Kyrie can score, and I don't think that's going to bode well for them, but we'll see.
We will see. Um, this is a series where I don't think Tatum can play the four and the Celtics be successful. With the way the Mavericks run the pick and roll, Luca doesn't always shoot coming off the roll. He'll swing it to Gafford, he'll swing it to Derek Lively, and I mean those are the role guys. I feel like so.
Yeah,
It's yeah, it's gonna depend on a little bit with the role players and bench. It's gonna depend a little bit on defensive matchup, defensive scheme, and offensive scheme as well.
yeah, and we'll get into that, um, a little bit later on. So for me, I've got the tally as 2-1, no, 3-1, sorry. 3-1 Celtics so far as the tiers, the breakdown. So let's move on to home court advantage. Now, we know that Boston has home court advantage. They're the number one seed, so they're going to be home court. But what we mean by this is just like who plays better at home, who has the better fan base, which crowd is louder, which team will respond better to their crowd at home. And so, what did you have here for this one?
I easily had Dallas Mavericks. Um, I think their atmosphere has been the best in the NBA, especially in these playoffs. Um, it's easy to rally behind a Luka step back after the shot clock is about to expire. Like it's easy to get loud after that. So I mean, you got Kyrie showboating, making people stumble. Crowd's gonna
Yeah.
go crazy. So just based off that alone, I feel like the Mavericks crowd atmosphere is better. And I feel like the Celtics theirs is good as well. But again, they haven't needed it to be. It hasn't. They haven't really been tested. So I'm going Mavericks.
Yeah, I'm going Mavericks too. That crowd can get loud, and those fans pack the house. Everything's bigger in Texas, man.
It's true.
It's
It's true.
I don't know. It's you got all the Dallas Cowboy fans, all the Dallas Cowboy players there. You
Yep.
got the Dallas sports has been crazy. This season you got the Rangers winning
Yeah.
the pennant. The Dallas Stars made it to the Western Conference Finals. Um, we're not going to talk about the Dallas football team at all, but
Texans did okay.
yeah, it's not Dallas, but yeah,
It's not Dallas yet. Just Texas. Yeah.
yeah. Um, and the Mavericks are in the finals, so you know, um, Dallas has been doing their thing in sports lately. So yeah, home court advantage is Dallas, and Boston is they don't play good at home. They've I think the stat is they're 17-14 the last 3 seasons at home, something like that. Which
Not
is which
great.
is not good. But they've been just beating everybody on the road and at home this season. Uh, so yeah. Let's move on to wild card or X factor. So for this one, you will pick a player that you think, it can be. It doesn't have to be a player. It can be a scenario. It can be just something that you think is going to be the reason why X team will win.
For me, I'm going Kristaps Porzingis
Ooh.
playing against his former team and coming off of an injury, which we'll see how he's able to play. But Al Horford has really been the big for this team, and he's carried them,
Yes, yeah.
giving them 38, 40 minutes a night. So the question is going to be for the Celtics is can they split minutes, maybe play around 20 each, and can Kristaps hold up his end of the bargain while Horford sits, gets some rest, whatever the case may be there. Um, I'm going Porzingis. I feel like he has to impact the series with his defense off the pick and roll, his ability to rebound, and his ability to score. Um, like I say, I don't know how his fitness is going to be. I don't know how if he's fully 100%. I assume he is, but again, I think it's Porzingis. We know he's talented, but can he impact the game? We'll have to wait and see. He's my X factor.
Yeah, I feel like that's a lot of people's X factor just because it's the unknown.
Yeah.
He hadn't played since round one, and like you said, don't know if he's going to be healthy. But he is a factor for sure. He can stretch the floor.
Yep.
He can bring those bigs out. Lively and Gafford. They're used to playing inside,
Right.
and going from a Rudy Gobert to a Porzingis is a complete 180. Rudy Gobert doesn't want to be past the free throw line, if we're being honest.
Yeah.
And we know we know Porzingis has a torch and can hit it from 30 feet, 35 feet. So that's a good X factor. My X factor for this series is Boston's defensive scheme. And if they can prevent Luka from going off, prevent Luka from getting the matchup that he wants on offense, that's going to be the key to the series. You can't allow Luka to kill you. You got to get it out of his hands somehow. You got to have anybody beat you but him. And if Boston can do that, I think they have a shot at winning the series in convincing fashion. But if they allow him to just do whatever he wants, get in his spots, and make it and not make it hard on them, you're not gonna win that way. So I think my X factor is Boston's defensive scheme.
Let me ask you this question. So you mentioned defensive scheme. We saw how the Mavericks were able to exploit the bigs of the Timberwolves.
Yep.
Based off me, I'm assuming, correct me if I'm wrong, but you would say the Celtics have no holes defensively, right? 1 through 5, versatile defenders, can switch.
I'm not gonna say no holes just because when they put in some of those bench players, those will be the holes defensively. Now they're starting five, um, less so, less defensive holes. I think 1 through 4 are solid defenders, and Porzingis is a solid defender in the paint as far as forcing misses and blocks and things like that. But Porzingis on the perimeter is not going to be Al Horford on the perimeter is not going to be good if that happens.
And that was going to be my, because the Celtics, are they going to be able to keep their bigs out of the unwanted situations, right? The Timberwolves were not able to do so.
Well, that's the thing. They're going to have to. They can't have a Jaden McDaniels falling back to guard Derek Lively.
Yeah.
When that's your guy, that's your man, and that Rudy Gobert on an island is not a good thing. So you can't in those situations with the Luka and the 5 pick and roll, you can't switch.
Yeah.
That you can't regardless. I mean, blitz, do whatever you have to do, but you absolutely cannot switch. Al Horford, Porzingis, Luke Cornett, those guys. If I see that at any point in time during the series, I'm tweeting it and I'm letting you know. Mismatch.
Yep.
On the island like that, it just can't happen.
Yeah. No, I fully agree. Their scheme definitely could be the X factor. And like we mentioned, Mazzulla is able to adapt. He's able to adjust, try different things.
Yeah.
I think majority it'll be kind of, they'll try and feel each other out early on, to see who's going to do what. But yeah, I really think if Porzingis is able to impact the game like we know he can, plus if Boston's defensive scheme, yeah, I don't see why they would lose.
Yeah, unless Luka and Kyrie are just God tier. I mean, that could happen too.
Yeah,
it could just be hitting everything. That's always a possibility.
I'll tell you this. I said this against the Timberwolves. If both of them score over 30, you can call it. It's over. And I don't care. I don't care if Tatum and Brown also have over 30. Nope. I'm trusting. We'll get into who we're trusting late game. But if Luka and Kyrie have 30 or 35 apiece, call it. Just call it. You can call it there.
So let's get into it. The clutch factor. A lot of these games, especially for the Mavericks, have been close. They've gone down to the wire, and they've held teams or they've come back late in games. So who do you trust most in the clutch situations?
The entire world should say what I'm about to say right now. It's Luka Doncic and Kyrie Irving. They've proven, not just now, but throughout their careers, they've proven that they can close games.
Yeah.
Kyrie's done it on a team with LeBron James. Luka has done it by himself and with Kyrie now. They've been in these situations. They know how to do it under 2 minutes, under 1 minute. It's controlled chaos for the Mavericks. They know exactly what to do, whether it's pick and roll, whether it's offensive rebound, whether it's, whatever it is.
Yeah.
I'm trusting. I'm not a betting person, but if I was, I'm betting on Luka and Kyrie all day.
Yeah, as far as clutch goes, I think Jason Tatum has not really been as clutch as you would want him to be in those moments. He's done some. Jaylen Brown has been a little bit more clutch for the Celtics, but yeah, yeah, it's Luka and Kyrie. They're the best closers for sure. But I wanted to ask you, do you see any games being close like this, or do you see all blowouts for every game? Because there've been some finals that are like that, where it's just one team blows out the other, and then it switches. The other team blows out the other one. So, you think these games are going to be close?
I think they're going to be close. I think they're going to be very, very similar to the Mavs series so far. Um, third quarter, it's 71-71. Beginning of the fourth quarter, it's tied, teams up by one, whatever the case may be. The Mavs like to keep it close to the end. And that's why I say I trust them more, because they're able to keep it close. They're able to battle with you all those first 3 quarters. And then that fourth quarter comes and they know exactly what to do. So I think they'll be close. One game, maybe a blowout. Maybe it's just, if a team wants to go back home, whatever the case may be. But
Yeah.
I feel like the Mavericks can be trusted more to close. And honestly, I was thinking about this the other day. Jason Tatum, you mentioned what happened against the Warriors. Okay, and I hate to bring it back up, but they folded.
It did.
They folded. They had it.
Yep.
Brown, Tatum, the same thing. And I fear it may happen again. I don't want it to, but I fear it may happen again. If it does, Luka and Kyrie are going to take them out. No hesitation.
Yeah. Yeah. Luca's a dog. He's a monster. He's a villain. He smells blood. He takes it. I almost, for my X factor, I almost put the Boston crowd, because they can, and it would be a detriment if Boston crowd really get, like, you can't get in Luca's head. He likes the booze. He likes the away crowd. He's a villain.
Yeah.
He likes to see you talk trash. It gets him fired up.
And he's gonna talk it back right back at you.
Exactly. Um, it's just gonna be interesting to see. There's so many plots in this series. Porzingis going against his old team, Kyrie going against Boston, his old team. Like, a lot of these players are interchangeable. They played, with each other, and on this team, which is very ironic. Um, so we've got coach, we've got star players, secondary star, role players and bench, home court advantage, wild card / X factor, and clutch factor. So the way my tally breaks down in the end is Celtics 4, Mavericks 3, and that's what I think is gonna happen. I think that's how the series is gonna go. I think Celtics in 7. Um, that's how it broke for me. How did it break for you?
I had 5-2 Mavericks. um, yeah. I think, or was it 6-1? Who did I said?
Coach, you had Celtics. I know
Yeah,
that for sure.
yeah. So 5-2. I was right. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, I have to give my prediction right. I think the Mavericks. I think the Mavericks win in Boston to close it out. 6 games. That game 6 would be in Boston, correct? Or would it
No.
be game 6 would be in
It'll be-
Dallas?
yeah.
Oh yeah, they'll close it out at home. Mavericks will win in 6. Um, it would take something spectacular from Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown every game to beat this Dallas team. And
That
until I see that, Jay, you may not believe that because of Derek White and Drew Holiday and Al Horford and all these people. Listen,
I
listen, listen. It's gonna come down to Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. If they can play defense, get stops, and make shots better than Luka and Kyrie. I don't think they will. I'm gonna have to see it,
yeah.
but I don't see it right now. I think
You have been watching the Celtics all season, have you?
I have. I have.
That's what they've been doing all season. It hasn't just been them two. It's been team ball all the way.
Yeah. But now I'm telling you, they're gonna be xed out.
It's different. It's a different monster.
It's a different monster because Drew Holiday is not gonna matter. Derek White is not going to matter because they're not gonna
Drew
have the ball in.
Holiday, Drew Holiday made so many game winning plays 2 years ago, 3 years ago with the Bucks.
Yeah. And he's done it this year as well defensively. He has. But
Offensively, last series he stepped up.
he did. He did. But ball in their hands, last minute of the game, they're gonna be sitting in the corner over there.
Waiting on something.
I'm telling you. It's gonna come down to Brown and Tatum.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I mean, I don't disagree with you, but I don't think they get away from their game plan. I don't think
No,
they
not at all.
like a lot of teams late in game, they go to their stars, they slow the ball down,
Yep.
they go completely ISO. I don't see that happening with the Celtics. Not too much. Now it will happen
Yeah.
because Tatum he's an ISO player.
Mm-hmm.
And Jaylen Brown can be, but you know, I just think Drew Holiday makes too many big shots. Al Horford makes too many big shots. Derek White is always going to shoot. He has the green light for this team. He just shoots the ball. Good shot, bad shot. It doesn't even matter.
Yeah.
It was so many times in that Indiana series where I was like, Derek White, what are you doing? You just shooting. Like,
Yep.
pull up threes. Like, come on, man. But that's their scheme. That's what they do. They just play free. And Joe Mazzulla really has them playing freely, and it really takes the pressure off of them. And I think that's something that is going to be different from the Warrior series, where they they were scheming too much on offense, and that's why Jason Tatum had 100 turnovers, and
Yeah.
it seemed like Jaylen Brown couldn't play with his left because they just weren't playing free.
Right.
I think they're going to play free this series, and I think it's just going to be fun. As we're recording this, the series starts tomorrow on Thursday. But we've talked about these categories and we've broken them down. But let's go game by game. How do you think the series is going to go as far as who wins where? So let's start with game one. Who do you think wins game one in Boston?
Game one in Boston, I say Mavericks win. I think after game one, I think Boston wins 2 straight. And I think it'll go back and forth, and then Mavs win.
Game 5 and 6.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I've got Dallas winning.
Going 7. Right?
I got to go in 7. I got Dallas winning game one. The Celtics don't play well at home.
Nope.
I got Dallas winning game one. Very close game. I think they're both going to be rusty. They've had so much time to rest, and we haven't really talked about that. But the time in between these the conference finals and the finals has been excruciating for me, at least. I know they've had a lot of time to prepare, and they've had a lot of time to rest and get players back. But for us sports fans, this has been like I can't wait for tomorrow.
Yeah, Nick Wright was talking about that when LeBron said Kyrie was the most gifted player. I think you probably saw that, but he was like, "This is the longest drought for the finals." People going crazy, saying random stuff.
Yeah, right. Yeah, he did say that. But yeah, so I've got Dallas winning game one, and I've got the Celtics winning the next two. So game two, game three, I've got Celtics winning those. So it'll be 2-1. And then Dallas will win game four in Dallas. And then it'll be Boston, Dallas, Boston. So Boston in 7. They'll win it at home in 7. That's how I think it's gonna go.
Yeah, I can definitely see that happening. Y'all, please let us know in the comment section below, who do you have winning the NBA Finals, the Dallas Mavericks or Boston Celtics? And we'll be active on Twitter. We'll be watching every game, breaking it down for y'all. And we're excited for the finals, man. Tomorrow night.
Yep. Tomorrow night, I think 8:30 Eastern Standard Time. So mark your calendars, get your food ready. For me, I have to watch basketball. Like I can't really eat. Like with football, I can eat and watch at the same time, but basketball is just different. Like I gotta sit down and like watch it.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is.
I try and eat like first half, first quarter, two, just kind of watch. That second half, I'm locked in.
Second half is the prime time for sure.
Yeah.
Also, let us know down in the comment section, who do you think is gonna win Finals MVP? Are we gonna see, our stars, Luka, Kyrie, Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, or is it gonna be these role players that we've been talking about? Could it be a Derek White? Could it be a Drew Holiday, Porzingis, PJ Washington? Anybody like any of these guys could have a great series, and that's why this NBA Finals is going to be so fun to watch, because there are still so many key integral pieces that are very important to their team. So let us know down in the comment section who wins Finals MVP, and we'll give our thoughts on that as well. And just to do that now, I'll say, do you think this could be a situation where, for instance, the Celtics win, but Luka gets Finals MVP? Could you see that happening?
Oh man, no way! If that happens, the Celtics played horrible and still won. So that can't happen. Surely, I feel like if that's the case, maybe it could be a role player like a Drew Holiday type, Derek White. But if the Celtics win, it's going to Brown or Tatum. Has to.
Okay. In that case, I'm giving this one to Jason Tatum. I think this is the series. I think this is the moment. I think it's his moment. And he's talked so much this season in post-game interviews about how, he remembers 2 years ago and how this is his second chance, and
Yep.
how he's, taking that situation and bringing it to now, and not necessarily dwelling, but just learning from his mistakes. And I think this is where we see that if he's aggressive, it's going to be difficult for anybody to stop him. Derrick Jones Jr., PJ Washington, they're going to have a time on their hands trying to guard him, because when he wants to get downhill, he can and he will.
Yep.
He's long, he's athletic, his jumper is hard to block and contest. I don't think he's gonna force shots like we've seen before. I think he's gonna be aggressive. I think he's gonna get downhill and get to the hole. I'm going Jason Tatum, Finals MVP.
I'm gonna wait till after game one to get
Oh
no, hold on. Wait.
man.
Wait, there's more. There's more.
Okay.
I'm gonna wait till game one to get my full finals MVP prediction. But
Okay.
I'll say this: if the Celtics win, Jaylen Brown. If
Okay.
the Mavericks win, Luka Doncic. But I'll pick either one of those after game one.
Fair enough, fair enough. And we'll be posting that here on Talking Sports Podcast YouTube channel. Like the video, comment, subscribe. This has been our NBA Finals preview episode. Episode 19? Episode 20? Something like that.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, somewhere around there. Like the video, comment, subscribe to the channel. This has been JD and Jeremiah. We are the Talking Sports Podcast on YouTube and Twitter. Hit that notification bell so that you see all of our content that we're posting here. And with that being said, until next time, love y'all. Peace.
Peace.